I'll tell you right now, he's making a bunch of shit up. Let's take a look.
President Donald Trump announcing just moments ago that the United States and the European Union reached a framework for a trade deal after his talks with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen.
But for the most part, it was closed. And now it's open. It's open for our companies to go in and do a good job with it. I think you'll like them. We have a great relationship now with NATO, which is largely the same. I mean, not exactly, but pretty close, right? Largely. And with NATO, as you know, they're going up to 5%.
Like, understand, if he's saying a number, that number is made up. He will go into these meetings after they have agreed with something and then just throw out a bigger number. We went over the lead negotiator for the U.S.-Japan trade deal yesterday, saying that the 90% profits going to American companies is for about 1 to 2% of the overall trade between the U.S. and Japan. 1 to 2%.
I think it's great that we made a deal today instead of playing games and maybe not making a deal at all. I think it's, I'm going to let you say, but I think it's the biggest deal ever made. Thank you very much.
Biggest deal. Oh, I thought Japan was the biggest deal ever made and ever will be.
So it's a good deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. If what Trump is saying about this deal is correct, if we're just to believe word for word what he's saying, the U.S. is like, our population are not going to see benefits from it, but our, like, you know, our industry leaders, our capital owners are going to see like a lot of more profit generation from this. But the EU is just going to like have a bill. That's all you got. EU nations, congratulations. You have a bill that's coming due. Like, Bloomberg has a quick little synopsis of it.
Volkswagen's Audi cutting its outlook, citing tariffs and restructuring costs. The news coming after the EU and US announced a trade deal with 15% tariffs, matching last week's deal with Japan.
Yeah, I think in short, it's going from a really, really bad situation to just a really bad situation.
EU commits $750 billion for U.S. energy and $600 billion of investments in the U.S. Those investments are, you need to buy more weapons from us. You need to buy more weapons and surveillance technology and, our developing AI algorithms. Now, it's unclear what the breakdown or even timeline of the $750 billion in energy and $600 billion in investments is. Like, how long, is that investment going to be for, right? Is this $600 billion over 20 years, or is this 600 billion in the next 10?
And again, the energy is a very important component because we have more energy than anybody else in that sense. And I think it was
like, if the EU had any balls, if they were not entirely cucked to the US. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that they're scared of the US, right? This is how things go. This is just how the EU operates. They are, vassals. They're, bannermen of the US, of American hegemony, right? EU leaders, they have pledged fealty to the US empire. But if there were leaders in the EU Commission, if there were leaders across the European nations that didn't want to just bend the knee every fucking time the U.S. president comes to town, they could have looked at Trump's offer and said,
China's offering us something better. What do you have?
China's offering us a better deal. Seems like King Xi is better at art of the deal, He has the real art of the deal, the art of war. They're not scared of Trump. They're scared he'll fuck up the bag. Yes, which is why I do think part of this is that aspects of this trade deal are not going to actually happen, and they're just going to go back to business as usual. But they also have a kind of implicit understanding that the U.S. works in chaotic cycles, and there's a possibility, a foolish possibility, in their minds that in 4 years, there could be another Democratic president and they'll have better trade negotiations. Foolish to think that that's a possibility, right? To rely on that. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 2023. The report was Japan had bought in the year 2023 700 U.S. vehicles, non-luxury, sedan vehicles, trucks and vans. 700. Europe isn't doing that. Look at this, man. Europe is not going to be doing that shit. How? How would you do that? Try parking a goddamn Ford F-150 or a goddamn Dodge Ram on European streets. Look at this. It's bad enough in America. Like, the crazy thing is, they don't even fit in America. They don't fit in our parking lots. I watched a man try and pull out of a goddamn PetSmart parking lot. He did a 16-point turn in a fucking GMC Sierra. 15, 16, I don't know. It was a lot of turns just to back up and then went the wrong direction. Yeah, a classic pickup truck taking up 4 spots and part of the sidewalk. Like, I shouldn't need a step ladder to get in the bed of the truck, man. What use is the bed of the truck when it's at like neck height? I can't reach in there. It's supposed to be at best like just above your waist. That's how high it's supposed to be, so you can grab what you need and pull it out. Like, that's crazy. Just be taller. Real men are taller. Listen, I was a fucking mulch slinger at a Lowe's during the spring mulch event. Okay, I did like a seasonal hire, and all those motherfuckers that have those big ass trucks, the bed is like up to their nose. You didn't even try. Like, I have seen some shady truck bed like contraptions that people have come up with to try and keep like a ladder or some 2x4s from flying out. I have seen some wacky shit, some goddamn Final Destination moments, you know, waiting to happen. That is just sad. This is a real, what happened to men? What happened to men? They used to do great things. They were doing great things, building temples, building monuments to man's greatness, and now can't even figure out how to put what looks like less than a dozen 2x4s in the bed of their truck.